Hello everyone, welcome to Modern Chess Kids. Today I'm going to show you the gameplay by Manish and Ashok Mohan, and this beautiful game complete in just 24 moves. And let's see how the game play. The game starts with the pawn to d4, knight f6, knight f3, d5, c4, then e6, and after this the white continued to play knight to c3, and c6 was played. After this e3 from white, and now the bishop to, and this kind of structure you have the semi-Slav opening, and this is the first 5 move, and the white is slightly better in this position. So after this, bishop to d3, preparing to go for a short castling. Then the knight b to d7, and now the white castling, and also the black go for a castling. Then e4 was played, and the pawn just captured the pawn at e4. Then continue with the knight takes the pawn, knight takes e4, and the knight continue to capture, knight takes e4. So after this, the bishop captured back the knight, and now the knight to f6 continue to gain and attack the e4 square. So this is the first 10 move, and you can see now the white is better in this position. And the game continue with the bishop to c2, and here the white maintain the diagonal of these two diagonal with the two strong bishop. And the game continue with the pawn to c5. Bishop goes to 3. After this, b6 was played. Then the white capture the pawn, d takes c5, and the pawn capture back. After this, the bishop to g5, trying to pin the knight. Then the bishop to e7 to unpin it and go for the queen exchange. After this, the white do not want to exchange the queen instead and move the queen to e2. And also this, you can bring the rook to d1. Both of the rook can go to d1 and attack the queen. So after this move, black play bishop to b7, and here the knight move to e5, continue to move towards the center and do not want the bishop to be capture the knight. So after this, the knight, the queen to c7, trying to attack the knight. And here the white just play rook f to e1, then the rook a to d8, and after this the rook a to d1, trying to prepare for the exchange. So the rook just capture, and now the queen capture. If you play bishop takes the rook, then the black will just move h6 and attack the bishop. And if the bishop goes to h8, then the rook to d8 will give an equal game. If you play rook takes, then the rook will continue to go to d8, and here you can just block with the bishop, and this will be a slightly better for the white. So back to this position, after queen capture, then the rook goes to d8 to attack the queen, and the queen back to e2 square again. And now the black play rook to d4 with the idea can able to capture the pawn after the knight at e5 is removed. So after this move, f3 was played, and now the black play knight to e8, trying to exchange the bishop. So this is one of the mistake or tactical blunder from the black, which causes white to clearly better in the next move. The better move for this the black to play would be a bishop to d6, attacking the knight, and this will give the black stay ahead in the game. For example, if you move the knight to g4, the knight will just capture, and if you use pawn to capture it back, then the black will just capture the free pawn, and here you'll be winning. So after king move to h1, for example, then the queen will continue to g3 and continue to attack. And here you can see black is clearly winning in the game. And if you move something like b3 to protect the pawn, then the rook will just capture the g4, and now you have a multiple threat towards the g2 pawn. And if you make something, example move such as a3, then the bishop will just capture, and after queen capture, then the queen capture, and it will be a simple checkmate. So back to this position. So at this move, you can move the knight back to g4, and the only way to prevent this thing from happen, if you move the pawn to like a3, now the bishop, if you capture, then the queen will just capture, and here queen capture, then the rook will just capture, and this gives white the slightly better position. So back to this position, after the knight moved to e8, this is one of the tactical blunder, and once the knight moved to this e8, now I give a couple of seconds to figure what is the best move for the white to play and win the position. Well, congratulations for those who were able to answer this. And for those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves. The beautiful move that the white play is to make a master in this position sacrifice with the knight. Capture the pawn at f7. So after this move, at move 22, the white made a knight sacrifice by capturing the f7 pawn. And this knight cannot be captured back. And in the actual game, the white captured back the knight, which is another tactical blunder, because after you capture it back the knight, then the white is winning and made in 4. And the game after this continue with the queen capture the pawn and check the king, and it will going to be made in the next 3 moves. So after this move, the only way the king can escape is to move king to f8, and after this move, the bishop takes the bishop and check the king. So after this bishop takes and check the king, the black resign the game. And if you want to continue the game, the queen capture the queen, and after this move, you only have to move the king to g8, and the queen will just capture the knight, and it will be a back rank checkmate. So back to this position, if you do not capture the knight, for example, the best way to play would be a bishop to c8, protecting the pawn. And after this move, the bishop can play bishop to f5 to attack the queen. And if you capture with the rook, then the knight will goes to if you move a bishop to f5, bishop to f5 here, then if you capture with the pawn, then the queen will just capture the bishop, and here it will be winning in the exchange. And if your queen capture, then you have the rook capture again, and now the king still cannot capture the knight. And after this move, if you move the knight to f6, then now the knight can just move freely, such as move knight to h6, and here you have a very beautiful check. If you pawn capture, then the bishop will just capture the knight. So back to this position, if you make the move of the king to f8, and now the queen will just capture the pawn, and here the white is clearly winning. And if you make an example move how such as a6, the continuation idea with this would be bishop takes the bishop and check the king again. And now if you move the king to g8, here you have the knight to h6 check, and here you have the double check and also the open check, and the king move to g8, then you have a queen to g8 checkmate. So back to this version, if you play such as queen to d7, trying to protect the pawn, and here after this move, the bishop will just continue to play bishop to a4 and attack the queen, and also at the end we attack the knight at e8. So after bishop to a4, then if you capture the bishop, and now again at this move it will be a winning move for white, as the bishop is meant to be a sacrifice. So here after you have a knight to h6 and check the king, and if you move the king to f8 trying to, you just continue to capture the e6 pawn, and it will be made in the next move at f7. And now if you just capture the knight, then you have a bishop capture and check the king, and this idea typically look like a Poland checkmate, but here you can use the knight to defend it, and now the white will just capture the bishop and check again the king, and now the king has nothing to block the check, and the only way is to move the king to g8, and again you have the queen takes g7, and it will be a simple checkmate. So at this move, the most beautiful move is to using the position sacrifice with the knight capture the f7 pawn, and this will give white a clearly better with a 2+. a very interesting idea from the white. And with this, thank you.